mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that. But mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that. mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that. But mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that. but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Evan Seymour, and I am the founder of Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala. Welcome to our first national Zoom call. We've got an amazing lineup of speakers, including Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, actresses Jennifer Lewis, Lorraine Toussaint, and Yvette Nicole Brown, and so many more. But before we hear from our speakers, I'm going to share some calls to action because most importantly out of this call, we want everyone to be inspired to do something or multiple things to make sure that Vice President Kamala Harris becomes the 47th president of the United States of America. Because what we're not gonna do is go back. Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala is a collective of more than 500 Black women and allies who work in various sectors of the entertainment industry, but we share one common goal: to do everything that we can to get Kamala Harris elected as 47th President of the United States of America. This call will be informative, inspirational, and actionable, and it is our hope that everyone will walk away feeling inspired. To quote Michelle Obama, we must all do something. So here are our calls to action. The first is persuasion. Usually at this point in the campaign cycle, the focus is on get out the vote. But there are a lot of people who are saying, for whatever reason, that they still don't know VP Harris and they don't know what her plan is for the country, though she has stated it many times. So with that in mind, the campaign is really focused on persuading potential voters. So what can you do to help? Phone banking, boots on the ground, writing letters, talking to friends and family. And a great resource for you to do that in those different volunteer capacities is the official Kamala Harris campaign website, which is kamalaharris.com. Next up, we have powering to the polls. One thing that we have been told is desperately needed throughout the country are additional poll workers. There are many states and counties that do not have adequate number of poll workers, the people who on the day of election are making sure that things are operating smoothly. So if you would like to volunteer to be a poll worker on November 5th, a great resource for that is powerthepolls.org. In addition, there is a desperate need, we have been told from the campaign team, and if you read in the news, for voter protection volunteers. It is unfortunate, but we have to worry about voter suppression. We know we have to worry about voter intimidation, as we know. So signing up to be a voter protection volunteer, both if you are an attorney or not an attorney, is another way to support with that powering to the polls. And of course, making sure that you are registered to vote and that your friends and family are registered to vote, and walking in with a voting plan for up and down the ballot. Next up, we have pounding the pavement. Throughout the month of October, we have been told by the campaign team that a huge focus is getting people in person, especially in swing states, to interact with voters, knock on doors, make phone calls. And so that's something that we are going to be doing a lot of as Black women in entertainment for Kamala. There are lots of folks in our group, including many of our celebrity members, who are dedicated to boots on the ground in swing states. And I am excited to share and announce that we are partnering with Swing Left and Vote Forward for our on-the-ground initiatives, including bus tours throughout swing states. We will share more about that via email in the coming week. And last but not least, we have power of the purse. Now, ladies, we know that a lot of us have some very nice bags. We love some nice things. When I say power of the purse is the power of the Black dollar. And we know that money talks, and we need our politicians to listen. So us donating to the campaign, and mind you, this fight is far, far from over. They are in need of our support. I just got an email from the DNC Finance Committee today. They need our support for campaign ads to combat all of these different PACs. There are what are called dark PACs that are donating millions and millions and millions of dollars to Donald Trump's efforts. So we need to combat that. We also need our politicians to advocate for us. And if money talks and we need them to listen, we need to support by opening up our purses. And a way that you can do that is by donating to the Harris Victory Fund through the Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala Harris Victory Fund link, which is in the chat, because we want to show that Black women who work in the entertainment industry are a force and we need to be listened to. Our issues need to be advocated for. So again, I encourage everyone to make sure that you do something. And now we will go to our first speaker, founder, advisor, media expert, producer, and speaker extraordinaire, Ty Beauchamp. Will set the intention for today's call. As we know, there's so much at stake with this presidential campaign. And many of us, I know myself included, are feeling a degree of anxiety. So as we do something to help get Kamala Harris elected as president, we must also remember to take care of ourselves. Ty, over to you.
Thank you so much, Evan. And cheers and honors to you and to Quan and to Ivy and to the entire assembly of women who have gathered for such a time as this, when we are quite frankly called. I honor you, my Spelman sister, for using your platform, your voice, your space in order to not only activate your individual voice, but to raise our collective voices, to elevate the voice of a woman who deserves to be heard, not only in our space and not only in our state and not only in our country, but globally. So ladies, if you will, thank you so much for being here this evening. My name is Ty Beauchamp. I am the founder of Morning Mindset with Ty and Evans, also beloved Spellman's sister. As we convene tonight to elevate our voices, to activate our purses, to activate our collective unity as Black women in order to celebrate and bring forth what is needed at such a time as this. I invite you all right now to just take a moment. We have come off of heavy days, off of heavy years, off of heavy decades, off of heavy centuries, quite frankly, where Black women have toiled, we have worked, we have brought us forward, not only as a people, but as a nation and as a community. So I invite you to breathe with me right now. And while I very deeply believe in God, whatever you believe in, I ask that you center your heart, your mind, and your spirit right now. And we're going to take a moment of breath because we are coming together right now to bring together us all in a new way, in a unique way, in a time that it is so necessary. And yet we carry our individual burdens, our individual struggles, our individual minds and experiences. So let's just breathe. If you are able to place your feet on the ground, if you're not driving, I know some of us may be moving about, but to place your feet on the ground, and place your hands either in your lap or over your heart, and just breathe. Deep inhales, and we thank God for this moment. We thank God for the purpose, this time that we can be centered not only on ourselves and our individual journeys, but on the journeys of our collective power that will unite us in a time right now in order to not only advance the power of Black women, but to advance humanity. We have done so many things to bring the world forward. And now it is a time for us all to be heard, for our voices to be activated, for our votes to count and matter in a unique way. So God, we call into your presence right now, that this time that we come together to learn, to share, to endow, to elevate, that we are able to hear your voice in this time, that we're able to imbue our own strength, our own wisdom, our own collective desires in order to elevate Kamala Harris in this season. That whatever our unique power and our unique gifts are in this time, that we are able to sew them together, to weave them together in order for us to elevate the design of who we are called to be, who our ancestors have called us to be, and who the daughters who are coming forth behind us will be. We thank you now for this time. We ask that you be present this evening and that you cover us and you grant us your wisdom, your grace, your mercy, your honor, and your understanding. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ty. Amen and Ashe. And I'm going to try not to cry because I am a crybaby. That was fantastic. I mean, I didn't even realize how much I personally needed that. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. We appreciate you and the gifts that you bring to the table.
Thank you, Evan.
Yeah. So our next speaker truly needs no introduction, but I'm going to give one anyway. Trailblazing politician, activist, and as some of us affectionately call her, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Auntie Maxine Waters.
Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to be here with Black women in entertainment tonight. I am so thrilled, so excited about what's happening to all of us. Life is about to change in this country in ways that some people never even dreamed of. But some people had the wisdom and the belief that it could change. And for all of you who have been doing whatever you have been doing to make sure that Black women are recognized, that Black women are given opportunity, that Black women are involved, that Black women are at the table, making decisions about any and everything. I just want to thank you for being whom you are and what you are. Yes, I'm Maxine Waters, and I'm a member of Congress, but more than that, I'm an organizer, I'm a legislator, I'm a strategist. I am someone who love our people, who love Black women, who do everything that I can possibly do. And in this campaign, I have made sure that no matter what I'm doing, that I am indeed actively supporting Kamala Harris, whether it is being a speaker on her behalf and going to various locations. I'm organizing a headquarters out way deep in South Central LA. I'm working with young men and women in public housing projects, some of whom have never voted before, who were told lies about Kamala, but now they're on board. And we've got to make sure that we recognize all of them also. But more than that, I'm thrilled at the beginning of this campaign when Biden had the good sense and the courage to endorse her as he stepped aside. Well, I want you to know that things changed immediately, and Black women came to the forefront. And it was Black women who raised the initial money, over $1 million, I think, in the first hour or so. Women who had been working with each other and talking with each other for a long time. And so we showed the power of Black women. And Kamala is going to not only be the one that's helping us, not only to show and demonstrate that we have power, but when she talks about this economy, and she's talking about an economy that serves all of us, that everybody can be involved in, that people can have jobs and careers and earn money and be educated, all of that. I believe so much that it can happen. I believe that this is the consequential election that is going to cause the real change in America. Thank you, Black women. But thank you, women in entertainment. I don't think you know how powerful you are. You are powerful because you're talented and people want to see you. They want to hear from you. Get out here and let people see you and talk to you, because you have arrived with your talent at a place where you have influence. Influence, I bet many of you never use. And so I want you not only to be on the screen as we are tonight, but on the street. Come walk with me. Come go to some of the states with me and anybody else you want to team up with. But now is the time to do whatever you can. And like Mrs. Obama said at the DNC convention, she said, do something. It's time to just do something. So thank you for having me with you tonight. I love you all. Call me anytime. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm doing. I'm working. And we all got to keep raising that money. It's very important. Love you all.
We love you too. Thank you so much. I rarely fangirl, but I am fangirling right now, like literally, like minor heart palpitations. You're amazing. I am from Pasadena, California. So you are representative of my state. Like you are everything. So thank you. We appreciate you taking the time. We know you are busy like all the women on this call. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And we are excited to walk with you. Listen, you said walk with you. So
That's right. That's
you
right.
get that email tomorrow. We'll be there right beside you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we have powerhouse actress, author, comedian, and activist who has been so incredibly supportive since day one of Black women in entertainment for Kamala. My dear big sis, who affectionately refers to me as little girl, the one and only Jennifer Lewis. Oh, wait a minute. I think we may have had a little.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Yes, Queen. We
Okay.
hear you.
Hi, everybody. I don't know if Maxine is still on, but hello, beautiful. We're from the same hometown and we are gangsters and we know it. Okay, listen, kids, here we go. This is the first thing I would love for everybody to do. We all have celebrity friends. And I can't tell you, it disturbs me. I don't want to step on nobody, but it disturbs me that everybody changes clothes every hour and post every hour a different outfit with lips ducked, you know, and all that. Listen, carry on, carry on. I'm not here to judge anybody, but I want you to talk to them. At least put vote.org in the caption. Put vote in your captions. Hashtag vote. Whenever you post, I'm serious, guys, call all your celebrity friends and ask them to, they don't have to make an announcement. I ain't, you know, once again, I ain't here to make anybody do anything. And I have to tread, I have to tread lightly, you know, because I just want to say, bitches, can you please put vote down? Ain't nobody got time for you to be cute. And we're trying to get a Black woman in the White House. I'm serious. I can't believe I could call names, but I'm not going to because they probably aren't. But make an effort, famous people. Oh, I can't stand most of them. Okay, listen, here we go. I am getting ready to write a song. And it's pretty much about, you know, I don't want to hide, and I wasn't born to hide, walk, run, or fly. I was born to fight for justice like Harriet until the day I die. I'm telling y'all right now. I don't want Harriet. I want her to be proud of me. Everybody talking about, are you leaving the country if he wins? No. Did Harriet leave the country? No, we will stay and we will fight. We will always stay and we will fight. No matter when she wins, we will stay and we will fight. Now, I'm getting ready to write a song about this because I think one of the things we can do is touch that emotional, the insides of Black men. Make them think about their little niece dying in the back seat of the car from an infection from a back alley abortion. See, I'm not scared of none of all of this. I'm going to talk about it. Your little precious niece, when she's raped by the alcoholic uncle at the family reunion, and she ain't going to be able to have an abortion. You understand? I'm getting ready to go for the jugular because they don't understand. I'm writing a song about, I heard somebody bought some gold gym shoes and is expecting another stimulus check. Well, did you forget whose knee was on George Floyd's neck? See, I know y'all heard about these gold shoes and the stimulus checks at the Black boy. Don Lemon did a whole thing across the country. Who you voting for? And all the young brothers are going, Trump. Man, I got the shoes. Jesus Christ. And you heard, and you know he gave us that check. You understand? You guys follow me? Okay, so that's out there. I'm also working with We Care, We Vote, and I'm getting ready to do a thing for them because they're dealing with the elderly and getting them to the polls. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to be involved in that too, literally taking them to the polls. I'm doing something with Jasmine Crockett where we're going to be working out and talking shit. Maxine, she's from St. Louis too. Hey, let's talk gangsters. But anyway, the big piece is nobody gets to post unless you put vote.org, vote.gov. Don't post anything without telling these kids to vote. Leave it in there. Okay, that's really all I got to say. I'm going to be writing some very impactful songs, but I want to get to those back alley abortions. I'm going to write a song about North Carolina and grabbing the vagina. You know, I will write some rhymes. I'm going in. So the last thing I have to say, because kids don't know nothing about the ancestors. But I'm telling y'all right now, all I want is Harriet to be proud of me. I want her to meet me and say, servant well done. That's it.
Thank you so much, Queen Jennifer. Thank you. I appreciate you, and we look forward to being boots on the ground together in swing states with you. Thank you. Random fun fact, I like to, for stress relief, write raps, and I'm actually pretty good. So if you need like a guest on one of your tracks, just let me know. I'm here. Thank you. All right. So following Queen Jennifer, we have a video that was shared directly from the Harris campaign with us, and they requested that we share it with you all because it has some specific calls to action as we continue to encourage everyone, implore everyone to do something.
In this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? There are some people who think we should be a country of chaos, of fear, of hate. But us, we choose something different. We choose freedom.
Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. Yeah. Freedom, freedom, where are you? 'Cause I need freedom too.
The freedom not just to get by, but get ahead. The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom to make decisions about your own body. We choose a future where no child lives in poverty, where we can all afford health care, where no one is above the law. We believe in the promise of America, and we're ready to fight for it. Because when we fight, we win. So join us. Go to KamalaHarris.com and let's get to work.
I'ma keep on running 'cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
Love that. Okay, so y'all, that was not the call to action video. We will email that, but love that we got in a little Kamala and some Beyonce. We didn't know if we could play Beyonce's song, but hopefully, since it's in the Kamala video, she's okay with us playing freedom, because freedom is what we're all here to fight for. We cannot deal with Donald Trump. And now, you all will hear from our Gen Z queen, actress, writer, producer, my little sis, and head of Gen Z engagement for Black women in entertainment for Kamala, Ashley Jackson.
Thank you so much. Hi, Evan. Can you hear me? Am I good?
Yes, ma'am, I hear you, and you look fly, honey. I see you got
I
the
got you.
Kamala Harris DNC
I
sign
have
in
a
your
little
mouth.
DNC repping. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And hello to all the esteemed Black women in entertainment on this call and to all joining us today. As head of Gen Z engagement for Black women in entertainment for Kamala, I'm not only here to discuss a topic that's close to my heart as a member of Gen Z, but one that's crucial for our collective future. Let's start with the number that should electrify this Zoom room. 41 million. That's how many members of Gen Z will be eligible to vote in the upcoming election. We're not just your kids or your friends. We are one of the most powerful voting blocs in this nation, poised to reshape the political landscape. Now, I was raised by a political scientist and a civil rights activist, and of course, I chose to pursue a career in entertainment. But one of the most important lessons I gleaned from them growing up was the necessity of knowing history. And not just my Black history, which was profound, but history in general. Because it is with that context that we exist in this world. And sometimes knowing our history is the determining factor between the repetition of past mistakes and the achievement of success. Now, our generation's political engagement isn't just a passing trend. We did not fall out of a coconut tree. Our activism is the continuation of a legacy, a torch passed down through decades of change making. In 1983, before he ever announced his run for the presidency, my father, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., led a crusade that registered over 2 million new voters to combat voter suppression without cell phones. Just as my dad went county by county to register voters, we're now going social media platform by platform to engage our generation. Now, let's switch gears and talk about the power of representation in media. Think about Shonda Rhimes and Scandal. You may wonder where I'm going with this, but bear with me. By putting a Black woman in a position of political power on our screens, Rhimes didn't just entertain us, she expanded our collective imagination. Her understanding of the history of Black women working in the political sphere allowed her character to permeate through our context with meaning and value. This is indeed the profound impact of our work in entertainment. Every diverse character we bring to life, every nuanced story we tell, is a step towards a more inclusive reality. We're not just making content, we're crafting historically informed blueprints for a better world. The power of seeing ourselves represented extends beyond just the screen. It's about seeing ourselves as active participants in democracy. Remember the first time a character's journey resonated so deeply with your own that it felt like looking in a mirror? For countless young girls around the world, that moment will come when they witness Vice President Kamala Harris take the oath of office as president. As Black women in entertainment, we have the unique power to both document and rewrite the story. This moment is about redefining what's possible for generations to come. So to my peers in young Hollywood, your influence extends far beyond your wildest imagination. When you speak, Gen Z listens. When you act, they take notice. You have the power to ignite conversations, to mobilize your contemporaries and your fans, to turn cultural capital into political change. And let me be clear, connecting with Gen Z isn't just a Gen Z responsibility. To those of you who aren't members of my generation, your role in this movement is just as critical. You have the power to activate and inspire the youth in your communities. Meet us where we are, engage with us on our platforms, amplify our voices. By bridging generational gaps and fostering collaboration, we can create a more robust, inclusive democracy. Now, while many of us on this call are already aware, I'll never tire of underscoring the importance of this election. And as Black women in this moment, we know that we cannot afford to lose. The results will determine the kind of air we breathe, the education we receive, the healthcare we can access. Even the great American experiment itself, democracy, is on the line. So every vote at every level, from the presidency to local and state elections, matters. The legendary Toni Morrison once wrote, "If you are free, then you need to free somebody else. If you have some power, then your job is to empower somebody else." Our votes, our voices, our creativity, these are tools of empowerment. So I call on each of you, actors, directors, writers, influencers, and fans alike, to embrace your role in this historic moment. Because when we vote, when we engage, when we demand to be seen, we don't just change who sits in the Oval Office, we change the very fabric of our society. Just as my father went county by county to register voters, and just as Shonda Rhimes used her pen to expand our vision of what's possible, we now have the power to use every tool at our disposal, from social media to the silver screen, to ensure that every eligible Gen Z voter is accounted for. And one of the ways I've played my part, no pun intended, is by using my knowledge of one of the most successful voter mobilization campaigns in history to create the #BallotBestie Challenge. And now, I invite you to join me, Jennifer Lewis, Niecy Nash, Sarah Jeffrey, and others. It's simple. Register 5 friends and members of your family to vote and check their registration, challenge them to register 5 more, and share on social media using the #BallotBestie. Together, we have the opportunity to mobilize 41 million writers of history. That's 41 million pens poised to script a new chapter for our nation. 41 million voices ready to echo through the annals of time. 41 million dreams manifesting into a reality we've long imagined. Remember, we're not just casting votes, we're crafting legacies. We are the authors of tomorrow's history books. Let's make it a story worth telling by doing everything in our power to elect the Harris-Wells ticket. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am so proud of my little sis, Ashley Jackson. She truly is a powerhouse. We look forward to sharing with all of you all more about the exciting programming that we are planning for Atlanta during Spelman, Morehouse, and Clark Atlanta's homecomings, and the other ways in which our Gen Z coalition is getting out the vote, making waves, and taking action. Going off script for a moment, I sat on one of their calls the other day, and I was just inspired and amazed by the group of amazing young women that Ashley has pulled together that are fired up and ready to go. So thank you, Ashley, for your leadership, and thank you to our Gen Z coalition. Thank you. And next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have equality activist, media maven, and one of my dear true advisors, just one of the sweetest, kindest, most genuine people I know, the amazing April Rain.
Thank you so much, Evan, and hello to all of my beautiful sisters and allies. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Black women who paved the way for us in entertainment, business, and life. As professional Black women in the entertainment industry, we know the power of our voices. We've seen how our influence shapes culture, drives conversations, and shifts narratives. Now, more than ever, we must use that power where it matters most, in the political arena. We see the challenges and threats facing us: attacks on our rights, a widening wealth gap, a climate crisis, and a country that still has far to go in addressing systemic racism. But we also see an opportunity, a chance to come together and make our voices heard in a way that can change the course of history. This election isn't just about a candidate. It's about securing our future and the future of generations to come. When we support Kamala Harris, we are voting for a woman who knows the struggles of Black women because she has lived them. She understands the challenges of being underestimated and overlooked. Her leadership is a beacon of what's possible when we break through those barriers and claim our rightful space. Black women have always been at the forefront of progress. Think of the glass ceilings we've shattered, the barriers we've broken down. It's because courageous women, Black women, stood up, got involved, and made their mark. From Shirley Chisholm to Stacey Abrams, we have such a proud legacy of trailblazers to draw inspiration from. And now it's our turn to help Kamala Harris break the highest, hardest glass ceiling, becoming the first woman, the first Black woman, and the first person of South Asian descent to be president. Just imagine what she can do with all of us behind her. We are living in a time when democracy itself is under threat. We've seen how policies of voter suppression disproportionately affect Black communities. But let's be clear, they're afraid of our power because they know what happens when we show up. So I come to you today with a call to action. Use your platform, your network, your influence to make sure that no one is left behind. We have to ensure that every single person we know who can vote does vote. Mobilize your fans, engage your peers, and bring that same fire you bring to your careers into the political process. There are still too many undecided voters out there, and many others disillusioned by a system that has failed them time and again. We must remind them that their vote is their voice. Their vote is the tool that will push forward policies that reflect our values, policies on healthcare, education, criminal justice reform, and economic equity. I know it can feel discouraging sometimes. The task before us is daunting. But when we come together, united and resolute, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. This is not the time to sit on the sidelines. Kamala Harris and the Democrats down the ballot represent a future where our voices are heard, our needs are met, and our potential is fully realized. So this election is about the presidency and the down ballot races that will determine the balance of power in Congress. It's about state legislatures that will draw district lines and protect voting rights. It's about city councils and school boards that shape our communities. It's about all those who will fight for our interests and advance an agenda of progress and justice. So let's do what we do best, lead. Let's lead our communities to the polls, push through the noise, and make sure that when the dust settles, our votes have been counted and our futures secured. Because the stakes have never been higher. The future of this country, our country, the one we built, is on the line. And I know in the depths of my soul that when Black women rise up and flex our political muscle, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Together, we rise. Together, we make history. Together, we fearless, fabulous Black women will ensure that Kamala Harris and other champions for our community are elected and that Black women continue to drive the change we've always known we were born to make. Let's get to work. Thank you so much to Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala Harris.
Thank you so much, April. We appreciate your inspirational words and your years of activism. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And up next, we have Kelly Todd Griffin. Kelly is, among many other things, which I will share, the president of the California Black Women's Collective. On July 22nd, so the day after the Win with Black Women call that was a call that led for so many of us to galvanize and organize, Kelly and the California Black Women's Collective had a call with 10,000 women on it, myself among that group. And before the call was over, I was like, oh, I need to know her. So I sent Kelly an email and she immediately responded, and we have been connected and supporting each other ever since then, as we should always do as Black women, support each other, lift each other up. So without further ado, I introduce to you all social entrepreneur, executive officer, founder, empowerment agent, and author, Kelly Todd Griffin.
Thank you, Evan. So, hey, y'all, I'm happy to be here. But let me talk about this whole thing about do something. And I'm going to tell you what happens when you do something. When we do something, we are able to create change, and the change that we need, we're able to shift systems so that we can benefit, particularly as Black women, as Black people in California, and Black people throughout the United States, Black people throughout the world. We decided back 4 years ago that we wanted to do something, and we wanted to fight to get a Black woman in the U.S. Senate. And so we created Keep the Seat, and we took Black women from up and down the state, across the country, and we fought with the governor of California to appoint someone. And today we have Senator LaFonza Butler as the U.S. Senator, because we did something. But we didn't stop there. We kept doing the work. That work led us to $5 million from the state to create the first Black women's and girls think tank in the country. We've also been able to designate Black Girl Joy Day in California as a state resolution and recognition. That's what happens when you do something. That's why we have our Vice President, Kamala Harris, because she is built on doing something. And together we have to do something. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what do we want to do. First, create your own collective. You don't have to be anybody. We weren't anybody special. We weren't elected officials. Well, we were special because we were Black women and we're brilliant. But we didn't have no big titles. Some of us had our own jobs. I was minding my own business in corporate America and got a call from then Congresswoman Karen Bass and Congresswoman Barbara Lee, and they said, hey, we need Black women to come together around this. And we jumped in, and one of the things they said is anytime you need us, call us. We called them, they showed up. And from there, we started the collective. Start your own collective. It could be family. It could be friends. It could be schoolmates. It can be anything. We need you to do that, especially for such a time as this, to get the first Black woman elected as president. Also, when you do your collective, do meetups. We did meetups up and down the state. Do meetups. You can meet up at restaurants. You can meet up at homes. You can meet up everywhere you want to go. You can even go to the club and do a meetup if you want to, but make sure you're there for a purpose. Make sure you're talking about the issues that are important to you, whatever your constituency is. And then we also started having issue forums. You know, Kamala Harris has done some remarkable work in California, And oftentimes people are talking about what she did when she was a attorney general, when she was a district attorney. And let me just tell you, living here in California, she did nothing but create programs to ensure that the system was changing and that Black males and Black females, Latinas and Latino males were not being locked up in an unjust system that tended to make sure that they went away for 3 strikes, even if they were having a simple drug possession. That was Kamala Harris that made those changes. She made system changes. When she gets into become the president, she will make system changes. We also do things here, like we have a prayer call that we do to make sure that we are right in our souls. I, like Evan, set this call up to get us grounded, because that was so important to what we need to do as a full group, because this is not for the weak. Let me tell you, this work is not for the weak, whether you are fundraising, whether you are phone banking. I remember going to knock on doors for when I worked for an elected, and people would close the door in your face. People would be looking out the curtain, trying to see who you are. We need to understand that it's going to take all of us to make this happen. This is not an easy thing, no matter how much money we hear that she's making. As we've heard earlier, there's this dark money that comes into campaigns that make sure, so every time she raises 50 million, some dark money comes in to do something for 150 million. It's going to take all of us. So please take the time, get your collective together. Everybody should have a collective, whether it's one friend and one family member, but have a collective, 2, 3, 4. The Bible tells us when 2 are gathered, we can do miraculous things. So get your collective together. Make sure you connect with Black Women in Entertainment for phone banking. There is going to be canvassing that we need. In California, we have 5 congressional seats that we are hoping to flip, because it won't be just enough for her to be president. Hear me now. It's not enough for her to just be president. She's going to need a Congress to ensure she gets the work done. So make sure you know what's happening in your state. Make sure you know whether or not you have a seat that we want to get, and volunteer with that campaign as well. And you can do, and then do fundraisers. You know, I have one, Obama comes on my Facebook all the time and say, $5, $5. That's all we need. And that's what we want to tell you with Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala, $5. Put in your $5, but make sure it keeps putting in. Don't just put $5 in one time. Keep putting in $5, $5. We have a thing here, one of our great leaders, Mother Desi, and she tells us all the time, if you're walking around with $1,000 purse, then you can give to a Black woman who is running for office. Because one of the things that you don't know, and through our think tank that we talk about a lot, is that Black women, when they run, they are more likely to have to fund out of their own personal finances, whether they put their homes up, and they are more likely to be in debt after they have won or lost their race, regardless. And so we need you to make sure that you fund. And then lastly, go live. This is Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala. Go on your social media. Go live. Go live. Talk about why she is the best person for this job. The campaign does a remarkable job of putting out facts and figures. So go live, tell your followers and your friends, even if you haven't gone live ever before, get on, go live, talk about, now, you know, I only do Facebook, so I'm not going live. I may not be TikToking but I am going live on Facebook. And for the 3,000 women that are in our collective on Facebook, they want to hear, they want to know what they need to do to make sure that she gets this seat. So I just wanted to come on real quick and just say, you know, we are all together. This is a collective. And not only is this this is more than a collective when we're together, collectives and collectives and collectives. We can do this And we have to do it for Kamala Harris, because without us, it would be a sad day without Black women. And so I'm grateful, and thank you for having me. Thank you, Evan.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I am so glad to be connected with you. And thank you for agreeing to be a speaker on our call. And thank you for welcoming me to be a speaker, inviting me to be a speaker on you all's call yesterday. It was an honor. Thank you. Thank you. Now I thank Kelly. But wait now, y'all. Ladies, we do need more than $5, I will say. We need
I
you
said
to...
continuously.
Listen, I had to make a few updates to the script, but that was good. We can donate at least as much as we spent on a latte, and lattes are high now, y'all. It's more than $5. And some of us can donate as much as we would spend on a Louis. We talking about the power of the purse. The power of the purse, ladies. Whatever you can give, okay? Because they do need our money. This fight is far from over. And if you saw some of the polls that came out yesterday, it's scary. This is the fight for our lives. And they need money to pay staffers. They need money to pay for campaigning materials, marketing materials. Ads are expensive. And in swing states especially, that's where we win. That's where we get to 270 electoral college votes. So they truly do need our funds, whatever we are able to give. And Kelly also mentioned fundraisers. Well, we are so excited to share that Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala is a co-host of the upcoming Black Hollywood and Friends Harris Victory Fund event taking place in Los Angeles on October 6th. We are so thrilled to do that and to have raised enough funds in order to co-host that event, furthering our impact and the ways in which we make sure that people see the power of the purse, the power of the Black dollar, and that they understand that our issues need to be addressed through legislation, through advocacy. They need to walk it like they talk it, to quote the Migos. Okay. Up next. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Up next, we have the one and only Susan Fales-Hill. Susan and I were connected directly through the Harris campaign's entertainment surrogates team back in August, which feels like an eternity ago, because y'all, your girl could use some more sleep. But in reality, it's really only been 8 weeks. And Susan is amazing. Susan, along with Deborah Martin Chase, I refer to as the Queen Connectors, because they truly have been the plug, connecting us with all sorts of powerhouse women in the entertainment industry, many of whom I have looked up to for most of my life. They are both 10 toes down. Susan, Deborah, all of the people they have introduced us to, 10 toes down for Kamala Harris, and they are huge supporters of Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala. So it's my absolute pleasure to bring up our next speaker, television producer, author, screenwriter, and advocate, Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala member, Susan Fales-Hill.
Thank you so much, Evan, you powerhouse. It is so joyous to be here this evening celebrating a candidate who has clocked more years of public government service than most of her predecessors combined. Let's face it, like most women going up for a top job, our vice president is quite simply overqualified. I am supporting Kamala Harris with all of my might, because as a Black woman in entertainment, I well remember the days of open discrimination. And I'm not talking about 50 years ago. I'm talking about the 90s, the early aughts, when people could tell you to your face that you were not qualified for a job because you were not white. Now, Project 20, there was, by the way, no HR department, no DEI officer, no recourse. Project 2025 would dismantle the protections against discrimination on the basis of race and sex, replacing them with so-called merit. In entertainment, Deborah Martin Chase and every other woman in entertainment on this call knows well what that means. I'm going to hire my mediocre buddies, women and divorced women, diverse voices be damned. The gains of the last 10 years, where we have seen record numbers of women and people of color gain traction behind the scenes, could be lost. We are not going back to pre-Wakanda Hollywood. That's not happening. And with our vice president, we know that won't happen. I am supporting Kamala Harris with all my might because my parents' interracial marriage was not legal in this country in a third of the states until I was 6 years old. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I may look old. It was not 100 years ago. I'm talking about the 60s. Now, let's remember that when the Dobbs decision came down, Clarence Thomas wrote a concurrence in which he stated that other decisions, such as Obergefell, which assures marriage equality, and by extension, Loving v. Virginia, which struck down the anti-miscegenation laws on which Obergefell was predicated, might also have been wrongly decided. We cannot go back to a day when we did not have marriage equality, and we know that Kamala Harris has always been a fierce fighter for marriage equality and performed one of the first gay weddings on the steps of City Hall in San Francisco when she was AG. I am supporting Kamala Harris with all my might because reproductive rights are foundational to gender equality. Make no mistake, the Dobbs decision is the first step in sending us back to the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant with babies that we can't afford to have. Our daughters deserve better. I am supporting Kamala with all of my might because the rhetoric from the other side around immigration is straight out of Hitler's Third Reich, referring to people as vermin. My grandfather came to this country from Haiti, the island of Haiti, in 1919, a time when this country admitted more than 1 million immigrants a year, a time when a third of the US population was foreign-born. Did that lead to chaos? No. It led to what we call the American century, our greatest century. Kamala Harris understands this, and she will create secure borders while also creating a humane path to citizenship. And for the record, my Haitian countrymen and I are not on the canine keto diet. I am the descendant of a people who fought, bled, and died in the American Revolution on the side of the patriots. That is what America owes Haiti. And let's remember that the wealth of the early republic was built on Caribbean sugar. There is no America without the Caribbean. Our histories are completely intertwined. And our Indian and Jamaican vice president is quintessentially American. So let's get out there and show that immigrants don't need to steal elections because their children win them. Our First Lady has asked us to do something. Kelly Todd Griffin has just reminded us of the power of the purse. So has Evan Seymour. Every weekend, when I'm not here on set working, I am phone banking. Deborah Martin Chase and I have been talking to Evan about getting a bus to Philadelphia. We'll be doing that. And I am putting my money where my mouth is, as I never have before, in terms of supporting a politician financially. Everybody has to give as much as they can. my litmus test is what Patricia Schroeder, the late great Congresswoman, said, which is you should spend as much as you spent on your last outfit. Ladies, I confess, there are not a lot of sweatsuits in my closet. So just as a starting point tonight, I'm pledging $10,000 to this event. So let's get out there in the name of all of our ancestors who bled and wept, and as the great Maxine Waters said, did not envision this day. Let's win this.
Thank you so much, Susan. I'm gonna go off script for just a moment and say, some of you will understand this, some of you won't. Susan just made me just in my mind, I'm doing the shmoney dance, because let me tell you, and like Susan, before this call, Susan said, Evan, I got you. I'm gonna pledge $5,000. So that $10,000, first of all, brought tears to my eyes. And second of all, truly, thank you, Susan. There are many people, Susan among them, who text me all the time, call me all the time, because they're so passionate about the work. And this Zoom call, honestly, was Susan's idea, because I was like, whoo, a Zoom call is a lot of work. I was just quiet about it. And Susan called me one day and she said, Evan, we need to do a Zoom call. And I said, yes, ma'am. Let me do it. We gonna make it happen. So thank you to the team, and thank you, Susan. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and we appreciate you. Next up, we have Liz Manella, a beautiful spirit I met just recently, but now count as a friend. The two of us first met after I emailed powerhouse activist Shannon Watts after the White Women Answer the Call Zoom that raised more than $11 million. Liz, within 24 hours, sent me a response. She was an instrumental part of that call. She also leads the Women Wednesday calls on a weekly basis that are so powerful and provide actionable steps to be the change we wish to see in the world. Liz and I had the pleasure of being with each other in person in Detroit for Unite for America last week with Oprah and Vice President Harris. And we are so honored and thrilled to have Liz, a true ally and founder of Chicago Women for Harris Demfluencer. She's also a fundraiser and an activist on with us this evening. Liz, over to you.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be invited into this space with you all tonight. And I have to say, as the finance co-chair of Women for Harris, pumped up about that $10,000 pledge. So way to go. Let's keep it going. I want to thank you all for your voices, for your advocacy, for your leadership, and for the example you're setting uniting women. During the DNC, I attended a panel entitled Shirley Chisholm Predicted This Moment, and they were referring to an interview she did in 1969 with David Frost, where he asked her, do you think a woman could ever be president of the United States? And she said emphatically, yes. I believe this country will be saved by women and students. And if women come together in spite of racial differences, class differences, economic differences, and back a woman, I could see this happening in about 70 to 75 years. Well, Shirley, 42 days from now, I hope we can say that we moved up that timeline by about 20 years, because from where I sit, I feel a difference. I feel unification in a way we've never seen before. In the 70s, my mom advocated for the ERA, and she saw firsthand the problems with that movement. And throughout my own advocacy journey, she has issued stern warnings to me to learn from those shortcomings and put those lessons into practice. Primarily, she reminds me that it was straight white women centering themselves, their interests, their way of doing things, and either consciously or unconsciously believing that they knew best how to accomplish this. But in the first 4 days of Harris's candidacy, if that taught us anything, it's that this time is different. Inspired by Joteka Edie and the Zoom breaking call hosted by Women with Black Women, a small group of organizers and myself planned White Women Answer the Call. And our grounding principle was simple. White women, as a whole, keep getting it wrong. 53% of them voted for the Republican candidate in 2020, and the majority of them have voted that way in the last 6 elections. And the first morning that we were planning the call, I texted this group chat of really politically involved, mostly white women about the idea of the call and the kind of basic idea behind it. And the response was interesting. People were like kind of outraged. They were like, you're just gonna like call out that it's for white women? You can't do that. And we said, yes, because that's what it is. It's a call out. It's a reminder that white women, you're the problem. And it's time to become part of the solution. We're the reason we lost in 2016. And then people got very sensitive that we were saying we're the problem. So I just like sent them the link to buy white fragility and kept it moving. So because white women in this moment, we need to learn from the way that Black women lead in politics. Why? Well, it's not because it's just the right thing to do or the moral thing to do. It's the smart thing to do. If you were going into surgery and your doctor said, hey, we can do this one surgical method that has a 47% success rate, or we can do this other one that has a 90% success rate, which would you pick? Well, 90% of Black women voted for Biden in 2020. Only 40% of white women did. So it's clear that Black women know better how to inspire other women to vote for their own self-interests, the interests of their community, the interests of other women, all other women. And we need to learn from the leaders yielding a 90% success rate with women that look like them. So my call to action to each of you on this call is keep going, lead, brag, be bold, know that you're doing it right, and tell people that and act like that and have that grounding you. When it's whether you're talking to friends and family or getting your neighbors registered to vote, be unafraid to call out those that are moving us backwards with their ideas and their laws and their inaction. And then as finance chair, I'd be remiss not to give you a second call to action, which is think about what you're best at, what unique gifts and talents only you have, or what you have the most to give that can make an impact on this campaign. For some people, that's time. For a lot of people on this call, it's influence. For a lot of people on this call, it's money. So I also have a similar exercise to Susan, which is to think of the last purse you bought, that purse that every time you look at it, you think of the bonus or the client or the piece of business. Evan, it was also my Louis that I think of like a big piece of business that I won, that I bought myself that purse. You look at it, you think about how hard you worked or the special occasion that purse marked. Now imagine that same feeling when you look at Kamala in the Oval Office, because 10 years from now, you're not going to remember what bag you carried in 2024, but you will still be feeling the lasting effects of a second Trump presidency. So think of the number that purse cost, double it, give it here tonight. Let's feel our collective power, because momentum is a force that we control. And I'm not kidding when I say that these Zoom calls impact poll numbers. They have a huge impact on funding this campaign. And these calls get reported on and talked about, and they tell people something is happening here. August was the best grassroots fundraising month in presidential history, and 95% of the donations made were $200 or less. And then after Harris's incredible debate performance, more than 600,000 people, 70% of them women, donated to raise $47 million in 24 hours. 47 for 47. I liked that number. We have raised $615 million since the beginning of Vice President Harris's candidacy, but we need more. We need to finish this fight. The next 6 weeks will feel like an all-out sprint, and we will be getting pulled in a million different directions. But if we can stay unified, if we can remember to listen to Black women who have proven that their ability to organize, persuade, motivate people to vote blue is unmatched, we can win this. And we could win all of it. We could win Texas. We could win Florida. We could win Kentucky. We can flip the House. We can hold the Senate. We can put a Black woman in the White House, in the Oval Office. And what that will do for not just your daughters, but for my daughter, for girls in this country of every race and background, girls across the world of every race and background, it will be the work of our lifetime. So don't let a single second of the next 6 weeks pass you by. Lead. You're the best at it. Leave it all on the field. Let's go. Thanks for having me, Evan.
Thank you so much, Liz. I truly, truly appreciate you. Little behind the scenes story. Liz and I were on a call just talking about organizing and catching up. And it was right before our second Zoom planning call for this event. And I said, hey, Liz, while she was holding one of her lovely little children in her lap, Quick question, and you can say no. Would you mind joining our call real quick, our planning call, so you can meet the team and share some insights and key learnings? And she said yes. And I really appreciated that. I appreciate your allyship and all of the hard work that you have been doing to fight the good fight. Thank you, Liz. All right. I mentioned earlier that I have been connected with many fantastic, wonderful people who I respect, with other folks who are Black women in entertainment who I have admired from afar for much of my life. Among those people is Lorraine Toussaint, a phenomenal actress, a proud person of Haitian ancestry, like myself and Susan Fields Hill, who we heard from earlier. She is a force and such a kind spirit and hilarious and beautiful. And now we will hear from actor and writer and Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala member, Lorraine Toussaint.
Thank you so much, Evan. It is such an honor to be here. I want to thank the Equalizer family, which is I'm sitting in my dressing room between scenes while they gave me the time to do this. I'm so grateful to that. 30 years ago, I stood in a room in Los Angeles with thousands of other people, thousands from all over the world, and we were all there for one purpose. We were there to become citizens of the United States of America. This is my country of choice. I stood there in a room where people were screaming, "Viva America!" and "God bless America!" And the people to the right of me were hearing impaired, and they were getting their oath signed. And there was a woman on my left who was literally on her last days. Clearly, she had cancer, and her helper had to lift her out of the wheelchair so she could stand and take the oath. And I wanted to become an American citizen. I've been in this country since I was 10 years old. And when I was 30 years old, I became a citizen. Now, this is a country that this country has been built on the backs of immigrants. I am a proud immigrant citizen of these United States. Literally, when when it says on the Statue of Liberty, "Bring me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free." This is why we come to this country. Kamala Harris embodies the spirit of the American dream. She is the spirit of all the immigrants that come here, hardworking, amazing, extraordinary people. I'm the granddaughter of Haitian, Martinican people, the daughter of Trinidadian people, and I am the mother of a very American young woman who is 19 years old, who is voting for the very first time in this election. I am so proud to say that I have hounded her because she's at college. And here's the deal with parents of kids at college. We now have to make sure that we are making sure that they have their absentee ballots, because endure the stink eye, endure this, oh, please, I've got this, I'm gonna get to this, don't worry, I'm gonna do this. I'm not taking any of those answers. I made sure that ballot she got online, she was registered, because don't assume that your high school students are actually being registered. They have to be registered. Get that absentee ballot in, because there are deadlines on that. Because for my daughter, who is just coming into her full bloom of womanhood, reproductive rights in this country are paramount. We cannot go back to the dark ages of women dying in back rooms, bleeding out because they're doing abortions on themselves, or quacks are doing it in unsanitary situations, because women will have abortions. We cannot allow that. Kamala Harris, thank God for her. There's a sacred word in the Hindu traditions that is a holy word, and that word is Ma. And the fact that this woman's name is literally Mamala. This is where the future of our world, the future of this country, the future of all of this planet is going to depend on feminine leadership going forward. I have in front of me a list of just the tip of the iceberg of women who have been leading in this capacity. In Barbados, Sandra Mason; Denmark, Mette Fredrickson; France, Elizabeth Bourne; Italy, Georgiana Meloni; Trinidad and Tobago, Christine Kangaloo; India, Indira Gandhi; Israel, Golda Meir; Argentina, United Kingdom, Margaret Thatcher; New Zealand, Germany, Angela Merkel. On November 5th, we will add the name Kamala Harris to this auspicious list of extraordinary women who have been doing this for decades, because this is the future of our world. The patriarchy is over. The hope of our country, the hope of the earth, rests on the feminine energy now rising. And women across this country, I'm saying we have the power to elect her. We have the power. There is no greater power on this planet than feminine energy. We give life. We will give life to Kamala Harris. So join me. And one of the things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making sure that the elderly get out to vote in early voting when there's not a whole lot of rush going on. Get people out. There's several older people in my life. Make sure that the elderly are going out. Make sure your teenagers, the first-time voters, are going out. I'm so honored. I'm not a political person. I'm an artist. I'm an artist. This is the first time that I've actually even entered into this kind of arena. And I'm so proud to be doing this. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm casting my vote for Kamala Harris.
Thank you so, so much, Lorraine. We are honored to have you here with us. All right, up next, we have my dear soror and big sister who has taught me so much as I work as an advocate at the intersection of entertainment and politics. There's a big learning curve, but I have been wrapped in love and support and mentorship from many, including the fantastic Dr. Sisha Joy Moon, Chief Diversity Officer of the U.S. House of Representatives for the 117th and 118th sessions of Congress. Welcome, Dr. Moon.
Thank you so much, Sor. First of all, I apologize for the dark background. I just had the pleasure of leaving the National Museum of African American History and Culture and seeing Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson in conversation. And so I'm in my car sitting outside of the museum, and I just feel so full right now. You know, she said so many things in that talk, from the fact that while she might be the first Black woman, she wasn't the first one qualified to do that job. To reach the highest heights, it takes a collective. And the biggest thing is that she is standing on thousands of prayers. And so thank you, Evan. Thank you to the Black Women Entertainment for Kamala for having me tonight. I'm probably going to come from a very different lens. I have the pleasure of wearing multiple hats over the course of my career. Some people know the social impact strategy work I've done with Congresswoman Crockett, who's going to join the call a little bit later, as well as leaders Stacey Abrams. But as you said, my most notable role was that I had the sheer good fortune of serving as the Chief Diversity Officer for the U.S. House of Representatives. Through this role, I was really working for you all. I was here to ensure that the People's House reflected the people. And during my 2-year tenure, I was able to curate activations that sat at the intersection of government and entertainment, technology, music, and sports. And we did such incredible work. I mean, we got to work with the Ray Studios, the Recording Academy, Live Nation, Stars, Netflix, Martha's Vineyard Film Festival. The list really goes on. And the reason why I was very intentional, me and my team in that role, was because we started to really understand, particularly through the congressional hearings, that there was a direct relationship between storytelling and policymaking. And so the U.S. House Office of Diversity and Inclusion, we've helped during that 4-year tenure, we helped appoint almost 1,000 employees of a workforce only consisting of 11,000. 227 of our clients were conservative offices, by the way. 197 liberal offices and over 15 nonpartisan offices. But unfortunately, the GOP caucus dissolved our office in May of this year. The news went viral, as was the case for Vernay and Janelle and Karen and Latondra and a lot of my colleagues in this work. And when CNN reached out to me and asked, was I mad about the disbandment? I said, no, I really wasn't. I was more so sad. But at the same time, I was also glad because that let me know that the work was working. The elimination was almost like a proof of concept. So over the last 4 months, what I've learned is that I'm still the People's Chief Diversity Officer and that my power was not in that position nor the permission of a majority caucus to tell me to do my Black job. I've continued to do it, I think, tenfold since leaving then. I mean, Jasmine has been like the best first client ever. We've done work with everybody from John Legend to Candace Parker, now doing work with you all and one with Black women and so many others to really continue to bring the Hill to Hollywood and vice versa. And I think that tonight's call, as well as one with Black women, are two prime examples of what power we can lean into as a collective when we move in sisterhood versus silos. You asked me what's at stake in the background, Evan, and I am a Black queer woman. I am from Richmond, Virginia. I am the wife of an immigrant, and I have endometriosis. It's almost like every issue on the ballot this year is my life. And it's my life and it's my life's work. And so I don't make it any secret, I'm an independent. I try to approach my work through a nonpartisan lens, but I will say this, I stand with Black women. And so I want to share some statistics that I've been sharing in a lot of the talks I do as of late. America will turn 250 years in 2026. And imagine that we might have a Black woman as the president when we hit that milestone. But in those 250 years, since the framers declared that all men were created equal, only 3 Black women out of over 2,000 have served in the U.S. Senate. Only 53 of over 11,000 in the U.S. House of Representatives. Only 1 of over 112 in the Supreme Court, with 0 of over 2,500 in the governorship, 0 of over 55 as Speaker of the House, and 0 as President of the United States, despite the fact that we as Black women account for 21.5 million of the national population, and as we know, has helped to build this nation over the last 400 years. So as nonpartisan as I may be, both the world and the work deserves Kamala Harris as the first Black woman and AAPI woman to serve as president. And additionally, Hakeem Jeffries also deserves to be the first Black person to serve as Speaker of this House. You wanted me to also talk about why Kamala. I'm going to be quite honest. I think everybody on this call has talked about why Kamala. I'm going to talk about why not him. I don't know how many of you all have read Project 2025, but Leader Abrams paid me to read all 887 pages and analyze it through a DEI lens. And I really need for you all to understand, I'm not gonna try to interpret it for you. I'm gonna actually share some of the words in the document. It includes a blanket elimination of diversity, equity, and inclusion with an overarching mandate to eradicate concepts such as sexual orientation, abortion, reproductive health and rights, gender identity, equality, equity, and sensitivity, and from every federal law, rule, regulation, grant, and contract. And so this will have reverberating consequences from the Hill to Hollywood. And it's not just that one document. People don't realize it's a 4-pillar strategy as part of this project. They have a policy agenda, a personnel database to implement those policies, a presidential administration academy to train that personnel on how to implement those policies, and then a 180-day playbook so that they can use every single day. And this is a quote, since from the moment of utterance of "so help me God," to completely implement the conservative mandate. And so if I could leave you all with anything, I think it's a couple of things. A lot of the work I do is with Gen Z. And I think one of the people on the call just now talked about the youth. If I could leave anybody with the action items, it's to explain the significant role that young voters will play in this particular election. In 2024, Gen Z youth alone will make up over 40 million potential voters, including 8 million youth who will have newly reached the voting age, making up 1/5 of the American electorate. But what we're also learning is that even though since July 21st, there's been a nearly 700 100% daily increase in registrations, with the largest number of new voters being between 18 and 34. Particularly when we think of voters of color, we're finding a 22% gap, especially at HBCUs, between the number of students who register to vote and those who actually cast a ballot, with the 86.6 versus 63.9% split. And so, if I could leave you with anything, it's helping the young voter in your life who could quite literally decide this election know how to get registered to vote, know where to go to vote, know how to get an absentee ballot, particularly if they're away at college, and either visiting iwillvote.org or whenweallvote.org or vote.org to really get active. It's a lot on the line. And I think we have a lot more in the runway, particularly at the intersection of entertainment and government. We have some fundraisers coming up. We have some HBCU tours happening, particularly in Georgia as a key battleground state. And so if you all want to learn more, as I've been appointed as one of the committee members for the campaign's Entertainment and Culture Committee, I'd be more than happy to share more information. And Evan, if it's okay, I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat. But above anything, thank you so much for having me, and onward, sisters.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moon. And of course, absolutely, you are welcome, and we encourage you to share your email in the chat. Dr. Moon truly is a force and has been so helpful to me and to Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala. And we look forward to collaborating with her as we plan our HBCU initiatives, specifically in Atlanta, where my alma mater, Spelman, is one of the schools that we will be working with to get out the vote and to get students excited about both voting and voting for Kamala Harris. Now, y'all, Dr. Moon mentioned a Black job, which we've all seen the memes and all of the things and the videos. And with our help, VP Kamala Harris is about to have the Black job of being the 47th president of the United States of America. So thank you again, Dr. Moon. Up next is Janine Sherman Barwa, powerhouse showrunner and writer, who I met when I was the publicity lead on the Apple TV Plus series, The Big Cigar. Now, usually, I think that the way the protocol works is that mentors select their mentees. But as I am an unconventional woman who bounces to the beat of her own drum, I called Janine one day and I let her know that I was choosing her as my mentor. And she has embraced that title and has embraced me and the work of Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala since it was just a thought and not yet a movement. Ladies and gentlemen, showrunner and writer Janine Sherman Barwa.
Hey, you guys. Nice to see everybody today. Evan, I cannot even believe she quit her job and she said, I'm starting Black Women for Kamala. She said, in Entertainment for Kamala, and I am going to forge ahead with a group of powerful women to help get Kamala Harris in office and become our first female president. And it literally takes so much courage to leave your job, especially in Hollywood. But Evan, just like Kamala was called, you were called. So we thank you. We thank you for this. I have a production company. It's called Folding Chair Productions. And it was created because of the Shirley Chisholm quote, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. In 1972, Shirley Chisholm was the first woman to seek nomination for president of the United States by running for the Democratic Party's nomination. She helped break boundaries, helped usher in a slew of women who ran for Senate, Congress, who changed the game. And some of those leaders are actually on here with us today. But we all remember that feeling we had in 2016. We know it so clear when we woke up and we found out that Hillary had lost. We cannot let this happen again. And so we have got to do everything we can to elect Kamala. I remember when she was district attorney, I went to fundraisers for her to become attorney general, etc. And we know she is the best person to lead this country. We also know as storytellers that they're creating a story and a narrative that is questioning her abilities. But she has the policies in place to move us forward. And as a kid whose parents tried to integrate schools, who tell me stories about walking and having dogs after them, having Thurgood Marshall have to fight to get them into schools, I know we just cannot go backwards. They're trying to ban our books. They're trying to take away our reproductive rights, monitor our pregnancies, and just that is just the beginning. And Vice President Harris is actually going to fight to strengthen our democracy. She's going to protect our reproductive freedoms and ensure that every person has an opportunity, not just to get by, but to actually get ahead. Donald Trump, we all know he's a convicted criminal, but he's actually running on extremely dangerous principles of Project 2025. And those agendas will roll back for all families. It will roll back all the strides that our parents and women before us fought to have change. We cannot let it happen. Vice President Harris has spent the last 4 years governing partner in the most successful administration in modern American history. And VP Harris helped pass and implement historic legislation to strengthen America's national security by traveling to 20 countries, talking to over 150 leaders. She has more foreign policy experience and national security experience than the 4 presidents prior to Biden. But with that said, the story is they're going to try to make it that she's not qualified. We know, because we have all faced that in our worlds, that she is the best person for the job. Now, just like Evan did the move and she left her job and she started this amazing organization, we all have to actually do something. A lot of us are getting kind of lulled to sleep, like Jennifer Lewis said. People are posting selfies. We're more concerned with what we look like in the selfie. We've got to actually use this new platforms to change the game and to get people to vote. And so I encourage everybody, like literally use your platform. Some people I know, they're like, I don't post politics. I said, this is like the first time our democracy is literally on the edge. You have to use your platform to post something because some people, 3 million people, are undecided in the swing states, and we've got to convince them. Evan said to me when she went to the DNC, she wanted to do a postcard party. We did that. We galvanized all of the women that are in the organization. We did 1,700 postcards. Do a postcard party. Get your friends together. Go phone bank. You can phone bank at home. You can phone bank by going to kamalaharris.org. They will show you a center. Obama for Kamala Harris on Crenshaw Boulevard, there's places to phone bank. If you want to be a poll worker, you can do that. If you want to join a group and get on a bus tour, we need people in swing states. And finally, not only do we have to talk to Gen Z, we have to speak to these men. Because we have sold in Hollywood, we have sold Superman, Batman, we've sold men run the world, they save the day. And that has infiltrated people's psyche. And we've got to tell the men of our lives, our friends from high school, our uncles, our grandfathers, our fathers, our friends. We've got to get men also to talk to other men to help us make this step forward. And dismantle all of their beliefs about how this country is going to be run, dismantle it all. And actually, in this moment, with such a huge contrast, vote for the person who is most qualified to lead us into the future. And as storytellers, my last thing I'm going to say to everyone is we are all storytellers. Every single day, we tell a story. But this time, we've got to have a page of our story and history that we did everything we could to get Vice President Kamala Harris to become the 47th President of the United States. It's not enough just to give tonight. We all have to give money. And I know all of the people who are going, it's hard in entertainment right now. Again, if you have a Louis Vuitton bag, if you have a designer bag, you can give something to the organization tonight, to Kamala Harris. Give some money. If you are not working right now and you're like, I cannot give money, but I want to go on the ground or I want to go to a swing state, ask somebody that you know and see whether they will give you money to get on a plane to go on the swing state. We have all got to join forces because on November 5th, we've got to turn the page of history, but we also have to know that all of us did every single thing we can. So thank you guys. Let's just go with force and let's do something. And Evan, thank you because you started this. So thank you.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you. I really appreciate you. And I'm not gonna say too much because I'm not gonna be a crybaby. You're the best. Thank you. That being said, I will let the record show that I did not tell Janine that I wanted to have a postcard party. Janine called me and said, Evan, we need to have a postcard party and make a big splash. And when Janine tells me to do something, I do something. So along with our amazing team, we planned a postcard and pizza party that Janine hosted at her home. And we had almost 200 Black women in entertainment and allies in attendance. And we wrote more than 1,600 postcards for potential swing state voters. So thank you, Janine, for that idea and for all of your support, and to the entire team that helped with planning and execution of that. It was a fantastic event. And with the record now updated, I will introduce the legendary Deborah Martin Chase, or DMC, as I like to call her. She, along with Susan Fales Hill, who we heard from earlier, is a queen connector. She is a legend and such a kind spirit. We love you and appreciate you. And with that being said, let's welcome film, television, and theater producer and Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala member, Deborah Martin Chase.
I'm unmuted. Thank you
I was
so
about to
much.
say we're gonna have to chase Deborah Martin Chase.
How do I, because I've been sitting here. No, listen, first of all, Evan, thank you. Thank you. You have dedicated your life to this. You have turned over your life. You have created this amazing organization, and you are tireless in your efforts to get our girl, our woman, our our person elected. So thank you very much. So when I graduated from college in the late 70s, prehistoric, pre-internet, I spent the summer in Spain, and I hitchhiked, and I ended up in the Basque region where I did not understand the dialect. And I was in a car with two guys from there, and one of my best friend was with me. And when she said that she was from New York, they started mimicking shooting up with heroin. They started saying things like they thought we were prostitutes. And we pulled up to the next light. We jumped out of the car. And immediately I was incensed. And as I thought about it, in those days where the only images were on television and film, they didn't see anything else. So all they knew of Black women around the world was we were poor, prostitutes, powerless, kind of hopeless people. And that's one of the incidents in my life that made me decide to come to Hollywood, because I wanted to smash stereotypes, try to break down prejudices and show people who look like me, who look like us, who felt like us on the screen, so that people knew who we were and that we existed. And I wanted to tell our stories, because at the end of the day, the similarities amongst all people are far greater than the differences. And that's how that's the foundation for equality, for justice, for caring, for community, both, in your local community and around the world. One of the main reasons, one of the many reasons that I am supporting Kamala for president, that I have supported her since she ran for attorney general, is that she understands the concept that true leadership is about bringing people together and uplifting them, and that we should be celebrating our differences. We should be respecting those differences. And we should also understand that the similarities amongst all of us are far greater and are what unite us. Needless to say, in this election, we have her who's about uplifting, and her opponent, who is all about the politics of divisiveness, disrespect, and name calling, lying, just the values that do not represent the America that I love and that I have worked to build. So Kamala, she has pledged to be, and I believe that she will be, the president for everybody, even for those people that don't vote for her. Where, on the other hand, we have a person who has said he's going to go after the people that did not support him. And again, that's not the America that we want. That is the best version of who we are. This is the most critical election of my life, I think, of all of our lives. And yes, there's some very important issues at stake: reproductive rights, voting rights. God knows, hopefully we can help broker peace in the Middle East. But for me, honestly, the main issues here are about our core values and about integrity. I want a president, as I said, that uplifts as opposed to divides. I want a president that I can trust what comes out of their mouths. When this is really when I was a kid, it was George Washington could not tell a lie, that he chopped down the cherry tree. I mean, it sounds so Pollyanna when we've got, people in the highest office and striving to get back to the highest office who don't have a concept of truth. What kind of role model is that for the kids, for all of us? And you see it, how it trickles down into every aspect of our society. People now, they want to win by by oppressing others, by any means necessary. And again, that's not the America that I know and that I love. As I said, I've supported Kamala since she ran for attorney general. I was one of the very first, supporter when she was running for the Senate. I was one of the early supporters of her when she ran for president. And what I can say that is one of the most things that has impressed me is how she has grown. With each experience, she has gone in, applied herself fully and totally, embraced the experience, and what you see, that it's, she's on a whole different level from when she started her own presidential run in 2020 to that speech that she gave at the convention, which is widely considered to be one of the best ever, and followed by her performance at that debate, which, presidential historians have said is probably the best debate performance ever. So I want to be with somebody who wants to grow, because that requires openness, that requires a sharp mind. That's somebody who's paying attention to everything that is going on around them and who wants to be the best that they can be, not just win for, whatever it takes, but win in the right way so that you're inspiring people to go along with her. This race is it's so close, it's scary. The new New York Times poll that came out, has Trump ahead in Arizona, and they're neck and neck in Georgia and North Carolina. Pennsylvania is still pretty much, within the margin of error. So I think we all were so euphoric in those moments when she rose to the top of the ticket, and with that amazing convention, and watching the money rolling and everything else. And I just was hearing people around me, oh, we got this. No, we don't got this. And I will never wake up the morning after the decision comes out, because it's not going to be November 5th with all the shenanigans that are going on. But I'm not going to wake up and say, first of all, that I didn't do everything possible for her to be elected, because the alternative is going to be tragic. We, as Black women in entertainment, we play a very important role in creating the American culture and the global culture. From when I graduated from college, and when there were no images, really positive images of Black women on TV and film, this group here has changed that, both in front of the camera and behind the camera, in creating roles, in creating the nuances of character and storytelling that let us be fully understood and shine and humanized and thrive, and that empower us to believe in ourselves, which has been, one of the themes of my work, that we all have the power to be and do whatever we want to do. Everybody on this Zoom has contributed to the change in our image in the world. And so from that time to when, we had the bad images, to today, when we are on the brink, where we have the opportunity to elect the first Black and South Asian woman as our president, we've done an incredible job, but it is far from over. We need to tell the story. We need to tell the story to our family, to our friends. As Susan said earlier, and Evan, we got to get out there and knock on doors. We need to use our Hollywood cachet and our ability to persuade and tap into emotion and motivate and inspire and compel people to get out and vote, and to vote for her. We should hold hands together. We can do this together. And I guess my last point, this is what Janine just said. We got to talk to our men. We got to talk to our men and to our young people, because this should not be a them against us situation. This has to be all of us understanding the critical importance of what is about to happen. We need to elect a president that really does care about the people, about our country, about our future. Kamala Harris for the people versus a president that is solely concerned about his ego and his personal finances. I also hold Hollywood responsible in large part for the success of Donald Trump, because for 14 seasons, we let him play a powerful billionaire on television. And that image and that role is what propelled him into the White House in the first place, and is likely, or, is why he's in the possible situation again. So it's up to us to, build her role and get the word out there. We need money, we need resources, we need your time, anything you want to do. Again, Evan is a rock star. And I don't know when she sleeps, because, I text her before I go to bed, Susan, we got LaShawn's, we're in there, and she's answering immediately in detail. So I just encourage you, reach out to this team. They will help guide you, because I know it's hard to know, like you want to do something, we all heard Michelle Obama, but what do I do? I don't really know. So this is what this group is about, to help your desire and your motivation connect with activities and an understanding of how you personally can have a true impact. Each of us can make a difference. Thank you. Thank you very much for letting me speak this evening.
Honest Queen DMC. We would love to have you. You're such an icon and you've been such a supporter. Thank you. Again, going to go off script for a moment. There were a few things that Deborah said that I just want to speak to. I see that the several wonderful folks, Kwan, Sinra, some other folks from our team dropped our website and our email. If you reach out to us at BWIE, the number 4, Kamala on Instagram. If you reach out to us through our Gmail account, which is also BWIE4Kamala@gmail.com, we do respond. It's very important to us to respond. We are in direct conversation with the Harris campaign. I now, at this point, sit on a couple of meetings a week with their team. We just partnered with Mobilize, so we're going to have our events posted there. We also are working in conjunction with not only the campaign team, but also Swing Left and Vote Forward for our boots on the ground activations. And we have some other amazing things coming up. You know, the women in this group are so innovative, so phenomenal. We all work together, and, you know, Deborah is among the people when they come to me with ideas, they say, we want to do this. We work together to figure out how to make it happen. So we are here to be a resource, not just to VP Harris, but to the community of Black women in entertainment for Kamala and our allies and friends. So thank you so much, Deborah. All right, up next, we have Yvette Nicole Brown. We first met when I was a publicity lead at Apple TV Plus. She is such a phenomenal woman. She has been a Kamala Harris supporter for years. She is a campaign surrogate and darling. She is an actress, a host, and what she personally told me is, more than anything, her most honored title is to be a caregiver. Ladies and gentlemen, Yvette Nicole Brown.
Oh, hey everybody. Thank you, Evan. I'm not going to keep you long, but I wanted to take a moment to tell you about my day. So this morning I was at an event where a bunch of us came together to create Harris Walls content that will fuel our social media pages for the next 41 days until the election. I left there to go to a photo and video shoot about reproductive rights. After that, I came home to record a video about re-electing Ohio Sherrod Brown so we can keep our majority in the Senate. Then I prepared for this Zoom with all you amazing Black women in entertainment. And right after this, I will be popping into the Nerds and Geeks for Kamala Zoom. That is all just today. And I don't say that to brag. I say that to let you know that that is what it will take from all of us from now until November 5th. Not that exact list. I don't even want that list, but your list. This movement to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz is all about each of us doing everything we can every day to move the needle, or in sports terms, to get the ball a little closer to the goal line, so we can save this democracy from that orange demon and his weird lackey that are determined to have us all in camps or in chains. Invisalign got me again. Now, this is all gas, no brakes. There is no time to rest now. We can all rest on January 21st, right after we've enjoyed the inauguration and safely gotten these two amazing humans positioned to lead our country with decency and joy. Imagine that. So can you knock on doors? Do that. Can you write postcards? Do that. Can you call or text folks to tell them about why electing Kamala Harris is important? Do that. Can you fight against the myths and disinformation you see online? Do that. Can you make sure you and everyone you know are registered? Do that. Can you give $10,000 like that amazing Susan Fales Hill? Do that. Whatever you can do to ensure that Kamala Harris is our next president, please do that. And do something like that every day between now and November 5th. Ignore the polls. Don't believe that we're ahead. Like my Sora DMC said, don't believe that we got it in the bag. Think of our side as the underdogs and spend every day coming up with a way to do a bit more to get Harris Walz across the finish line. We can do this. We can do something amazing for our country, our children, our future. Now is our time to show up. Now is our time to show out. This is our time. This is Kamala's time. Let's go. Thanks for having me, Evan.
Absolutely. We are so thrilled to have you on our call, to have you as a member. You have done so much, and we continue to collaborate and look forward to much more. Thank you so much, Yvette.
Thank you, sis.
All right. Up next, we have activist and change maker, Jasmine Crockett. I'm not done. She is another phenomenal woman among the speakers on our call. Also, your girl got bars. I know you all remember beach blonde, bad build, butch body. Okay. Let me stop, but you all remember that was a good moment. That was an iconic cultural moment. More importantly, though, Jasmine is a brilliant attorney, politician, United States representative for Texas's 30th congressional district, and national co-chair of the Kamala Harris campaign for presidency. Welcome, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
Thank you so much, Evan. And it was so good to see my good friend, Yvette. And obviously you guys were able to hear from the incredible Sisha Moon a little bit earlier. Let me tell you something. You all have said such amazing things about the Vice President, soon to be President of the United States. And that is all great. And I think if you have actually tuned in, then you are already somebody that is a part of this choir. You are part of the chorus. And so while Yvette has been in the streets, listen, she ain't by herself. I have been hitting them hard myself. I just did 5 cities, 7 events in 2 days, and had to make it back so that I can hopefully help to keep the government open. So listen, that is exactly what it's going to take. And I've been very nervous about how much excitement is actually going on. It makes me nervous because I don't want people to be like, oh, well, she got it. So if it's raining or it's cold or the line is long, they decide, well, you know what, we're going to win anyway. Listen, it's not that way. I just got to be real with y'all. Like, we don't know. There is no magic ball. We have no idea. And all I can do is think about what happened in 2016 when we sat there and we just knew that Hillary was going to become the first woman president of the United States. And then we woke up and we were like, what just happened? It was whiplash. We cannot risk that happening again. So what I want to do is I want to empower you. You've heard all the amazing reasons that exist as to why to support the Harris-Walz ticket. But I want to talk to you about some of the things that maybe you're going to encounter as you're out there trying to bring people to this movement. Number one, we consistently hear from people, well, why hasn't she done this in the last 3.5 years that she been vice president? So, okay, we do have a civics problem in this country, but it is important to explain that a vice president is a supporting cast member. And let me tell you, I will tell you that President Biden has always been about, let's try to do this as much in the form of a partnership as possible. But at the end of the day, he is the president and she is the vice president. And she has been an amazing vice president. I mean, and honestly, their relationship has been one of admiration for me. Before she became the Democratic nominee to become president, she was hitting the road really hard. And she took ownership over the reproductive fight that we are all engaged in. She was going all around this country. She was, I'm sure, the first person that sat in an administration as the president or vice president to actually go to abortion clinics. Like, she's been in these streets, but the cameras don't follow the vice president. The cameras follow the president, and that's where the attention always is. So just let people know, listen, she has been a vice president. She has been a solid vice president. And if you think back, when Donald Trump left office because 81 million people fired him, that was at a time in which we were looking at these trucks in which they were throwing our bodies into because we were losing people every single day. And we could not see the forest for the trees because we had no idea if and how we would survive the pandemic. Well, guess what? We may catch COVID nowadays here and there, but we don't look at it and say it's absolutely going to be a death sentence, or we don't hold our breath wondering if it's okay for our parents and our grandparents to go outside. Listen, we ended up with brighter days because we finally allowed the adults in the room to take the lead. And guess what? We can go back and play this game and go back into another $8 trillion worth of debt in one 4-year term, which there's a lot of reasons we don't want that. The way that I like to talk about the debt ceiling is I like for you to think about it like it's your own credit. Now, you tell me what your credit score is if you have debt that is up to here. It downgrades your credit score. What happens when your credit score is downgraded? You end up paying more interest for everything that you buy. So right now, the United States has higher interest rates on all of our debt, partially because of the irresponsible actions of Donald Trump. What were those irresponsible actions? This is a man that decided, you know what? I want my homies to be good. I want the top 1%ers to be good. And you know what? Everybody else, the other 99%, y'all can carry the burden of supporting the government. It doesn't make sense that the majority of us are paying a higher effective tax rate than those 1%ers. That is why they have jumped in this game and decided, you know what? We got to get our boy back, because those Trump tax cuts, they will expire in 2025. So what has the vice president decided that she wants to offer us? Well, the last time that we had a balanced budget, that was actually under President Clinton. She has decided we need to go back to the Clinton way of doing things to make sure that we can get our debt under control, which ultimately will help all of us. That's one thing. All right. So another thing that we hear, well, she's a prosecutor. All right, cool. Let me tell you something. We wish we would have had the type of prosecutor that Kamala Harris has been when it came down to Breonna Taylor, when it comes down to Sonia Massey, when it comes down to Trayvon Martin, when it comes down to Tamir Rice. This is the type of prosecutor that we wanted. We have longed for those progressive prosecutors that would not look at us and think that we were nothing more than a statistic and throw us to the side, but actually recognize our humanity. This is exactly why she started the program Get Back on Track, because she wanted to make sure that people that, for whatever reasons, whether it was your environment, whether it was your circumstances that led you to end up in front of her, she wanted to make sure that you didn't have an F on your chest, because we know that typically an F on your chest doesn't get you into the White House. In fact, you usually can't get into a house other than the big house with an F on your chest. So this is somebody that understands what it is. And let's be clear, because a lot of people want to pretend that he's like us and he ain't, simply because he's been engaged in the criminal justice system. And I'm going to say something that most people won't say, but I've been saying it. When you look at Puffy ain't been let out yet. Puffy got cases in one jurisdiction, and Donald Trump got cases in 4 jurisdictions and got a whole bunch more cases. This is normally how we are treated in the criminal justice system, is when you end up with that many cases, you're not sitting up there walking free. It don't matter if you're running for president or not. At the end of the day, the criminal justice system says, based upon these citizens that have come together in whatever jurisdiction, they have decided that there is enough evidence for a prosecutor to go forward. And now we know that Donald Trump has actually been convicted and he is still walking free. And people are still considering voting for him as president of the United States. And we know that there was so much drama that they brought about just because Barack Obama wore a tan suit. Let me tell you something. The double standards are very clear, and they are going to play out in this election. And that is why we have to be more aggressive than we have ever been. So when we also talk about what she did when she was an attorney general, it is important for people to understand, as I brought up so many of our Black sisters and brothers that have been killed at the hands of police brutality, she was the first attorney general in the country to say that every officer under her would have to wear a body cam. That is somebody that understands our plight, along with the fact that she wasn't born and given $400 million when she came onto this earth. This is somebody that understands what the struggle looks like, and she has worked up and earned every single thing that she has attained thus far. So these are things that I just want you to be empowered with. The final thing that I'm going to say, specifically as we've been discussing Black men, it is important for us to be clear that Donald Trump has never talked about getting rid of qualified immunity, which means that from a civil perspective, we would at least have access to monetary recovery if for some reason one of our lives is taken. But now Donald Trump has gone even further and he has said, you know what? We don't like those progressive prosecutors that will go after those police officers in the Tyree Nichols case or in any other case that you want to come up with, Sandra Bland or anybody else. We don't like those progressive prosecutors. I don't think they should be allowed to go after them if they are looking at criminal liability. That is a problem. So at the end of the day, this election, while we have talked about the vice president, and if you tuned into DNC, you know that my affection for her is real. But at the end of the day, this election really isn't about Kamala Harris, and it's honestly not about Donald Trump. It is about us, and it is about our future and what it is that we are willing to accept in this country. And at the end of the day, what I'm telling people is, listen, talk about the policies that the two are offering. Don't even mention the names and say, are you okay with law enforcement being able to go out and kill one of us and face no consequences, civilly nor criminally? If the answer to that question is no, I'm not okay, then you know which way you need to vote. Are you okay with someone saying, you know what, if you're a top 1%er, you don't have to pay as much as the people at the bottom? Are you okay with somebody that says, you know what, that good union job that is finally going to pay you more money because you guys were able to organize? You know what? Are you okay with a person saying we don't want unions to exist? Are you okay with paying more on your taxes because you got somebody out here talking about the tariffs that they want to impose? I need you to just start talking about the policies. Are you okay with the fact that women are dying? Even if you're not a woman, you should never be okay with that. Because one thing is clear, I don't care who you are, you came from a woman, whoever you are. So you should never be okay with that. And so we should just start focusing on the policies, because these policies are affecting our everyday lives. Whether we're talking about the investments that have specifically been made into HBCUs at a time in which we have a Supreme Court that has decided that no, we don't want your kind in certain schools. So we are getting rid of affirmative action. And so we've seen a decline in diversity in PWIs. We've seen an incline in those that are going to HBCUs, but HBCUs have always been underfunded, always. And that's how they want to keep us. They want to make sure that we are given less and told to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Well, I'm telling you, there's only one team that is going to fight for us. So it's important that you jump into your group chats. It's important that you start talking to people that you would never talk to, whether it's the person that is bagging your groceries, whether it's the person that is driving your Uber, because there is so much more that unites us than divides us. And so I need you to be my messengers on this. I need you to go far and wide and tell anybody that will listen why it is important that we support a future that we can believe in. And the only pathway to that future is through the Harris-Walz ticket. Thank you so much to each of you for joining us tonight.
Very powerful. Thank you so much, Congresswoman and Soror. Jasmine Crockett, thank you. You are such a force. And you are absolutely right. He not like us. He not like us. He not like us. Also, we don't want him back. We're not going back. Now, against my better judgment, just a moment ago, I looked at my phone and I have 158 text messages. So I may need Ty to come back to share with us another breathing exercise. Because that's stressful. But I know that a lot of you all have been asking about where you can get the Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala t-shirts. I've received DMs and text and all sorts of things. So I will tell you all at once that the shirts are here. You can purchase them on our website, www.bwie4Kamala.com. We have a lot of in-person events coming up, ladies. So let's represent, let's get swagged out while we do our parts to get Vice President Kamala Harris elected as our 47th president. Before we say goodbye, I'll leave you with a few words. As we say in Hollywood, lights, camera, action. Action. It's time to do something. Register to vote. Make sure your friends and family are registered to vote. Make sure that you all have voting plans. Volunteer, donate. And y'all, these folks out here just let you to know all my business that I don't have a job, or at least not a paying one. So I can't match, and even couldn't have before, Susan's 10 stacks one day, naming it and claiming it. But I'm going to do my own nails, eat some ramen, I'm gonna figure it out. And I pledge an additional $1,000 tonight to Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala's Harris Victory Fund fundraising efforts. It's go time. Let's make the most of the next 41 days. Thank you to all of our amazing speakers, the phenomenal team of Black women who pulled this call together, event producers Laura Mignot and Quan Latif Hill, and Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala team members Ashley Dunn, Ash Level, April Rain, Kamala Avila Salmon, and Senora Fox, our creative agency, a Black-owned business, Verbal Slick, and our amazing friends at Zoom who truly went above and beyond to make today a success. Thank you to all of our donors. And thank you to everyone who took the time out of their day to join us, Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala, for our first national Zoom. Remember to take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that. Strange but mankind.
Wait, hold on. Where are people who are backstage?